welcome to Good Game. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex. It's been too long between MMOs, Bajo.
It has been too long, Hex, but hey, we all need to sleep sometime.
Well, that's true, but not this week because we're reviewing The Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, fighting an awesome lizard!
Also this week, we dive back into the fractured world of Rapture for Bioshock Infinite, Burial at Sea, episodes 1 and 2.
And Goose follows Team Avant-Garde as they fight for glory in the National Call of Duty Championships.
He can pick up another one, great kill, come down on it, he's gonna get it,
Boom.
he does! Nice cap!
Well, it takes some serious skill to play at that level. But before all that, can you name the game and the console it's played on?
But first, here is the news to be read by Goose.
Thanks, guys. Former lead writer and creative director for the Uncharted series, Amy Hennig, has joined Electronic Arts to work on an upcoming Star Wars game. Hennig had recently left developer Naughty Dog due to rumoured differences with fellow designers Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley. Hennig will now take the position of creative director at Dead Space developer Visceral Games on the as-yet unannounced Star Wars project. Microsoft has announced that Halo is actually definitely kind of getting a movie, but not really. A Halo digital feature project is in the works, with Alien director Ridley Scott and Naked Gun producer David Zucker on board as executive producers. It won't be seeing a full theatrical release and it won't star Master Chief, but we should all find out what exactly it is later this year. Amazon has unveiled their long-rumoured entertainment console, the Amazon Fire TV. This micro console aims to compete with devices like Apple TV, Chromecast, and Roku boxes, but will also offer access to Android-based games. And that's all the news for this week.
Thanks, Goose. With the disbanding of Irrational Games, it's hard to know what the future will be for the Bioshock franchise, if any. The recently released two-part DLC for Bioshock Infinite, Burial at Sea, could in fact be its swan song. So getting into that bathysphere and heading back down to Rapture was bittersweet.
I'm not so sure you'll like what you find.
Sometimes we walk hand in hand by the sea, and we breathe in the cool salty air.
Will become a butterfly.
Episode 1 takes us back to when Rapture was a thriving city. This time, it delves even further into its 1940s setting with a kind of film noir atmosphere, where Booker is a private detective and Elizabeth the femme fatale.
You can call me Elizabeth.
Elizabeth tasks him with finding a young girl named Sally, and straight away you can see how this DLC aims to stitch the two stories of Rapture and Columbia together.
It's so exciting, isn't it, being back in Rapture and seeing how all these narratives start to form a solid picture. The Bioshock franchise explores such complex storytelling ideas, so it's wonderful having some blanks filled and questions answered.
Who are you?
Name's DeWitt.
This really is such a great setup for the DLC, isn't it? That film noir detective setting. And I find this game just so beautiful, so many stunning scenes. And the characters slip effortlessly into these roles.
But you do this one gratis, wouldn't you?
I don't follow.
Something tells me you will.
I don't know, to be honest, it seemed kind of gimmicky to me.
Oh, really? I thought it was beautifully done.
Yeah, and I was really excited by all the promo material that I saw, but once it all started playing out, it just seemed like a series of really beautiful cliches. Many of the moments throughout episode 1 felt clumsily thrown together. It almost felt like at times I was on some haunted house theme park ride watching all of these random scenes take place.
I think that's a bit of a trait with Bioshock, though. I quite like it. You're often on a tour of a city full of mystery and trying to piece together what happened through visual clues. Only this time you're armed with 3 games worth of knowledge, and these are the final puzzle pieces.
Combat is similar fare to the previous games, only pared back a little bit.
I need more time.
Honestly, for me, episode 1 on the whole was pretty disappointing. One of your main objectives is to close a bunch of vents to try and lure Sally out, which felt a little pedestrian. There's not a whole lot of action, and the plasmids you have access to are pretty limited. That said, a lot of the quirks and mysteries of Rapture that had you scratching your head in the very first Bioshock are explained in this story, so that's really cool.
I really liked it. I like seeing Rapture at the height of its glory. That was thrilling. But mostly Episode 1 serves as a solid and necessary foundation for Episode 2.
Yes, and happily Episode 2 is a vast improvement on the first. It begins with an idyllic vision of Paris, which I think was my favourite part of the entire DLC. When I visit Paris, I expect it to look exactly like this. A hazy romantic glow, children playing, all hail the baguette, and Disney-style birds singing La Vie en Rose. I mean, this is that Bioshock wow factor I'd been waiting for.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? But what's even better is playing as Elizabeth. That's a breath of fresh air. Episode 2 adopts a more stealthy approach.
Yeah, lots of stealth takedowns and a more strategic approach to taking out a room full of enemies.
What's going on?
I like that they mixed up the weaponry too. Elizabeth can wield guns, but she also picks up a crossbow with all manner of interesting bolts.
It's a crossbow. Looks like the bolt delivers some kind of sleep agent.
And you also need to be very careful about your limited supply of ammo, because for Liz, there's no one there to throw her extra when she needs it.
Yeah, I loved this combat approach, but I was a little bit annoyed they waited till Episode 2 to introduce it. It's great having all these cool gadgets, gas darts, noise darts, tranquilizers, but I hardly got the chance to really use them in this 2-hour episode.
I guess these mechanics are pretty core to Elizabeth, so they had to hold out until Episode 2. And I do like that they thought about how she would fight differently. She's at a disadvantage in this installment, and she loses her ability to create tears, so her approach to combat is reflected in the fact that she's suddenly quite vulnerable.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the combat more in the second half, but I also didn't feel threatened a whole lot. One of Elizabeth's plasmids even allows her to become invisible for a while. But again, much of the focus of Burial at Sea is on fleshing out that already complex story of the Bioshock world. Which is wonderful, it just meant that ultimately I was left feeling a little bit disappointed at the end. I think I just needed more time to properly enjoy it, and I wish the whole thing had been one long episode too.
It's also a bit tricky to talk about without spoiling anything in the second short installment, but there are some stellar reveals, and it's certainly exciting, and it will surprise you.
Yeah, and those no way moments will certainly feel rewarding for fans who've truly been invested in the intricacies of this world from the very beginning. I'm just not sure I feel the better for having played it, and that's only because I love Bioshock and I'm not sure this does it justice. Part of me wishes they'd just left things as they were at the end of Bioshock Infinite.
I completely disagree. This DLC provides a much clearer setup and backstory to the world of Rapture before you even began your first adventure in Bioshock 1. And all of this plays into the cyclical nature of the universe. I agree with you that Episode 2 is definitely better than Episode 1, but I absolutely think this is worth a playthrough for fans of the series, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, there definitely were parts of this that I loved, but it's also playing with fire a little bit. Delivering this DLC as potentially the final word we'll ever have on the Bioshock franchise, I'm not sure it's going to satisfy everyone. Yes, it answers a lot of questions, but it doesn't necessarily leave you with that feeling of resolution, so I'm going to give it 6.5.
And now it's time for Goose to find out just what it takes to play at the highest level as he follows Team Avant-Garde through the National Call of Duty Championships.
The global audience is getting larger every single year, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon.
We're here, we're under the lights, we've got all the pressure, everyone's watching us play, and that's just exactly everything we live for.
I mean, you're talking about millions and millions of people watching people play competitive esports.
The crowd is getting louder and louder. It's deafening.
8 of Australia's top Call of Duty teams have descended on Sydney to battle it out for one of 2 spots to attend the World Championships in LA. Seeded third at today's event is Team Avant-Garde, who narrowly missed out on a top 2 spot last year. They're hoping they can do one better this time round.
I'm Adrian Kui Ku, I'm 18 years of age.
I'm Jake Hopey Hope and I'm 19 years old.
Aaron Bennett, 22.
I'm Melbourne, Australia.
From Brisbane, Australia.
Sunshine Coast.
Kyle Vilesider Collier, captain of Avant-Garde, 22, and I live in Sydney.
8 teams have entered the tournament today, $15,000 on the line.
If you want to be the best team in the world, find people that you like to play with. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're never going to have a chance at being at the top. You need to have incredible team chemistry with your teammates.
Benno and Kui are the newest members of the team, and they've only had a few months to settle in.
And how's it been since you've joined the team?
Yeah, it's really good. I get along with everyone in the team really well, so that also helps. Because when you don't like your teammates, you don't want to get on with practice, so yeah, they're all really good players at the same time, so it works out well.
Was there a little barrier you had to get past, like learning to play with these guys?
Yeah, there's different play styles each player, so I had to adapt to how each specific one of us in the team plays, but we all work and gel together as a team.
Is this a team that you think is going to stick together for a long time?
Definitely, we've got like a really, really good camaraderie happening. It's probably the fastest I've ever bonded with players. Hopi and Kui are like little brothers. Like I have to tear them off each other back in the hotel because they're wrestling and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. And Benno and I get along so well. He's basically like the Halo version of me.
Today's competition will be decided using Call of Duty Ghosts. Each match is a best of 5 game series, with each game being one of 3 types: Blitz, Domination, or Search and Destroy. Avant opens the day on a good note, winning their first match 3-0 against Team Royal.
We played well, a little bit of nerves there at the start. I think our comms can be a little bit cleaner. We knew we had these guys. We beat them pretty comfortably at the last lane, so it was a nice warm-up. Probably our biggest rivals is Trident T1 Dotters. We're about to play those guys next. That's going to be a bit of a tough game. We had a bit of a rough run against them last time.
Although Royal were outclassed, even the weaker teams of this event would have had to train solidly to make it to the Sydney finals.
The biggest difference between the top team in the world is they make this their focus. This is their career. They put in the time and the energy.
Are you ready to meet your finalists?
They're putting 8 to 10 hours in a day. They're not just aimlessly playing the game. They're playing it in a very organized way, and a very competitive, and they're playing against the best players in the world as well.
So what kind of regiment do you have for the team?
We try and keep at least maybe 4 to 7 nights a week, just dependent on how close we are to a comp, what happens. We're usually pretty lenient about weekends. Like if you've got stuff to do, go and do it. It's really important to maintain like all relationships outside of Call of Duty and outside of the competitiveness, but when it's crunch time like this, we're pretty much all focused. Like we're dodging girlfriends and like hanging up phone calls and stuff like that.
After every night, we go through the films and review what went wrong and try and improve on it.
Each hour we want to improve. We don't just want to waste, 5 days of just playing the game. We want to set goals each game and improve on that stuff, and then from there it just builds up and builds up and builds up until we just got everything done.
Avant-Garde going up against Trident T1 Daughters. Talking to Avant, they said that Domination on Octane is one of their weakest game modes, and Avant has to be scared. Up early, let the game get away from them. Izzy locking it down. Oh no, he's all by himself. Where's Benno for the help? You cannot plant on your own. You need to have cover.
Nope.
And this is just a failure in terms of search and destroy strategy.
Avant quickly fall behind 2 games to 0 after a slew of tactical mistakes.
Izzy makes it a one-on-one, and there he goes.
However, soon a brilliant effort by Benno sees Avant take the 3rd game, keeping them alive in the match.
Jens quickly rotates to the right side of the map. They know exactly the escape route, but it doesn't matter. Here comes Avant, led by Benno.
But a nice shot there by Bio as he's able to take out Izzy. They are losing C. Benno's going to pick up a nice kill there as someone was trying to make a move for the B cap there. Benno circling around, picks up yet another kill, sees 2 more, not able to get that. Oh, the snap! Benno with a 3-piece. No,
get the team, Benno, get the team!
Oh my gosh, Benno, an unstoppable force.
Momentum is now in favor of Avant, and they sweep the next 2 games, winning 3-2 in the end.
Now they know he's there
to save the day.
And that is it. Fired up.
3-0 comeback. They were down 2 games, win 3 straight. Benno, Hopi, Vilesider, and Kui celebrating their victory, but what a show.
That was an amazing win. What goes through your head when you think you're going to lose and then you come back and win a game that incredibly?
You just got to take it one game at a time. You can't focus on what's happened in the past. You just let it go and focus on what's coming up next, and that's what we did.
Freight Blitz, the map that we played 3rd, that was one of our best game types. And we said if we win this, we're going to win the series, because I know we never give up. We're one of the teams with the best attitudes, and that's just how we play.
Play how you want to play. Just go map on map, what Hopi said. And just play your own game and just forget about those mistakes you've made.
Kui, 13-7, once again the lead slayer in the game. The young 18-year-old has been crushing since he stepped onto the stage. Now his teammates are with him.
With the audience, the lights, the pressure, the commentators, and even the noise, it must be a world away from playing COD in your lounge room.
Are you guys still having fun when you're up there on stage?
We have the most fun when we're here. It may not look like it. It looks really tense. It looks really stressful, but this is us in that element.
It's a lot better because you can see everything and see everyone, and you actually add an event. You can hear commentators after the game talk about you.
And you saw Hopi standing still at the end of this one. He was standing up talking trash.
With 2 solid wins under their belt, Avant moves on to the winners bracket final. Their next opponent is Team Immunity, whom they've never beaten before in a competition.
If we win this next match, it's straight through to LA. All expenses paid, so I'm excited.
Right now you're seeing Rampage working with Naked. 3 straight kills for Immunity, and they do capture B.
Now the Avant guys are struggling a bit here. It's Kui in a 1v3 situation. The bomb is being diffused. He checks it quickly, takes the shot down. There's a 2-piece. Can he get the 30? Still staying alive. 20 seconds left now on the clock. He's going to get challenged.
Kui!
There it is!
Oh!
Kui! This is where Shocks will come back out. Try and pick up a few more kills. 2-piece.
Now
The earlier confidence dissipates as Avant runs into the impenetrable wall of Immunity.
It's just brute forces.
And now comes a sniper now from Hope. He sees one back there, and there he goes. Big shot. There's one player challenging, and there it is. It's now a 2v2.
But down goes Hopi. A 2-on-1 for Biosider, and it is over.
Avant is swept 3-0 in the match.
That is a trip to Los Angeles for the World Championships.
Of course, that said, there is still one more spot to be taken up.
The first one was a bit of a whitewash. They got a lead, and coming back on that map was really hard. The second one was 1 round, and the last one was a couple of caps.
Basically, we need to set up a little bit better. We need to just play our natural game that we do. I think we're a little bit jittery. Small talk a little bit better. I think that was one of our biggest flaws, was we sort of called stuff out but didn't call out to each other what we were doing and how to play and how to move, essentially.
It's crunch time now. Avant have one last chance at the golden ticket, and their opponent once again is Trident T1 Dotters, who've swept their way through the losers bracket.
Beautiful kill by Damage as he locks
Trident come out absolutely firing.
for the 2-piece. Sees one more.
Avant is still flat from their previous loss.
That is his 3rd kill. Kui going for the ace.
However, Kui picks up a hot streak and manages to keep Avant's hopes alive.
Kui, can he seal the deal with a perfect round? Yes, he's got it.
Oh, the ace! Kui just gave him the booty right there with that ace. Avant, it's do or die right now for this squad.
But it's not enough to stop the Trident machine.
Feels so bad for Avant.
Pick up a nice kill as we jump on board. Benno gets taken out.
It is official. Trident T1 Daughters.
Give it up.
Advancing
T1
to the
right
World
there.
Championships. They move on to America to compete for that $1 million tournament. Fantastic showing here on the main stage.
Good sportsmanship by both these squads. Such an intense battle.
That sucks.
That did suck.
Such high pressure on you guys. How do you think it all played out?
It was a pretty hectic battle. We didn't expect them to play quite the way they played. It was really aggressive and fighting for like 1v1 fights. Like can go either way.
Versus Immunity in the winter bracket final really sort of crushed our steam train, so to speak, down.
I don't feel like we did like bad. It was just on the day, because our structure wasn't perfect, it just didn't go our way.
We did pretty good considering like this guy's played CoD for about 3 months and those guys all played for probably 4 or 5 years. So it was all pretty much by the seat of our pants. So I'm happy with what we did.
Yeah. You've opened my eyes to what esports like this can be like. Regardless of the result, you guys did an amazing job. Seriously, well done, guys.
You can try and be the best, practice all you can, form the best team you can, but sometimes it just comes down to the day. For Avant, the quest is over for another year, but perhaps it'll be 3rd time lucky in 2015.
Grab your sword and shield, Bajo, because adventure awaits in the Elder Scrolls Online.
The plane meld is nigh, the plane meld is nigh, our doom is drawing near.
Ah, Elder Scrolls, where kleptomania is rampant and nobody sleeps under the covers. Taking an RPG series as popular as Elder Scrolls and mashing it into an MMO is no easy task.
Yeah, it's a huge step for the franchise, but the big question is, will there be enough fun to warrant the game's monthly subscription fee?
Indeed. You begin the game as a dead prisoner. Soon you meet Dumbledore, who, after a bit of old man rambling,
and the past and the future,
eventually tells you of 5 adventurers whose mistrust of a powerful necromancer known as Manny Marco had devastating consequences for Tamriel.
You will pay for your sacrilege!
That's bad. It's up to you to cleanse the land and reveal the corruption hiding beneath the veil.
That is, if you're not too distracted by collecting butterflies.
Oh, I just love butterflies.
And generally faffing about.
Look at this. Stop him, shut up, pass. No. We're adventurous. We're adventurers.
This is the way I dance in real life. Look at my face. As you journey through this land, you'll encounter lots of little stories that turn into larger ones. Bajo, every time I thought I'd cleared an area, there was a new quest waiting for me just around the corner, and it's top-notch questing too.
Take me to a door, what's gonna be inside?
I like the way characters often hint at a larger, more sinister plot behind their problems. And that drove me to want to know more about their story.
I followed his orders.
I just felt really invested in what was going on.
Yeah, me too. ESO has a staggering amount of content and dialogue, with a bit of choice consequence thrown in as well.
The Eight may grant you mercy. I cannot.
No.
And the narratives are delivered in such a sophisticated and ambitious way too. Scrolls Online uses a phasing system, which is becoming more and more common with this genre. This means as you clear quests, NPCs and the world around you change to reflect your actions. There is this great sense of accomplishment when you have cleared an area and suddenly none of the NPCs are hostile anymore.
Yeah, finishing a quest is always satisfying. The system isn't perfect though. It can be hard to sync up events when one of your group has already done the quest already. And we also found a handful of broken quests or spawning bugs, and sometimes NPCs won't even help you in a fight. So annoying, but they do have a good bug reporting feature.
Yeah, and these kinds of bugs are pretty common for launch week of an MMO, and most of them might even be fixed by now. What I like most about the questing is you really feel like your actions are having an effect on the greater story around you. And it's just nice seeing so many other adventurers around too. There's a good balance of player population, and quite often a stranger will bumble into a fight you're losing and save the day just in time. And there's just so many nice little touches and details, like when someone is rifling through their bag or staring at a map.
I love that. It's such a small feature, but it's just wonderful.
Yeah, I also love how nothing in this world feels fixed or static, which is a common problem for MMOs.
Greetings.
NPCs are always doing stuff around you, as if they have their own lives and aren't simply waiting for you to rock up.
Over here.
You especially notice this when you enter a new area and kind of stumble upon events that are already in action. And finally, Bajo, an MMO that won't go easy on you. There is some serious challenge in this game.
Oh dear. Nope.
And about time, because MMOs have been getting so easy.
Yeah, and it encourages that social element because you ask others for help and team up with people around you.
And Hex, honestly, the beta we played a few weeks ago was a little underwhelming, but now that we've got our own characters and we've got ownership over them, I'm in.
Yeah, me too. Although it is a slow burn, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm only level 16 and that's taken me about 40 hours. But there are just so many skill points I need to get and collect and upgrade. So many skills I need them all.
Spread across all the like different things and the race and the class and the weapon bonus, put your points and all the things.
Attributes. I think the reason why we're finding this so compelling is they've just nailed that carrot on a stick thing that WoW did so well. You can just see all those abilities that you don't have yet just out of reach.
I feel like my character is at the beginning of a long journey with so much self-improvement to be achieved.
And it's actually quite nice that this MMO feels like there's a slog, you know, it's going to be a slog to get through, but the good sort of slog.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've had something serious to chip away at with so many zones and areas yet to be discovered.
There are 4 classes, and they naturally lean towards certain roles and weapon types. But by no means is your class as fixed as most RPGs. Healers can wear heavy armor, tanks can use bows, whatever works for you. Everything has a magicka and stamina balance to it, and it's fun playing with that dynamic. Plus, at level 15, you get weapon switching, and that can drastically change the way you play this game. I like to start with a rain of arrows and then charge in for some whackety-whack. This game lets you play it the way you want to and rewards you for it.
It does take a while for combat to become interesting, but there is this moment where things suddenly just click and you go, okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially if you master those interrupts. It took a while for the combat to grow on me too, but I think that's because they've tried to make it feel like Elder Scrolls, but still fitting into that MMO mold. And I think it mostly works. I did find the two-handed melee to be a bit clunky, but I actually think this combat is more fun than in the other Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah, and I love that they've gone with reticule targeting. It just makes more sense. I hate tab targeting. It's also great that there's lots of AoEs to avoid and that fights can really get out of hand. But you know, any bump in lag can just ruin the fun, can't it?
Yeah, and I think there's a touch of launch week lag. Everything's not popping as much as it should.
Despite the speed bumps, their server technology is pretty impressive. Scrolls uses a mega server, which means you don't have to pick from a list of servers or shards to join.
Go!
You automatically sync up with your friends when questing, no matter where they've logged in. It's very ambitious, but it works pretty well.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Scrolls game without crafting. I could craft all day, Hex, and I did. It's evolved nicely from previous games too. There's more chance and risk in what you make. And lots to research and perk up. I do think the iron ores look like little poos everywhere though.
They do look like little poos, especially if that gathering perk that makes them kind of glisten.
Yeah, they look like stink lines.
Little stink lines coming off. But Bajo, you haven't talked about your special day.
Oh, Hex, it was magical. I married our production coordinator, Pierreth, in my first virtual wedding.
That's beautiful.
Oh, he came!
I put on my best armor, Hex, anxiously waited at the Shrine of Mara. We said our vows and tied the virtual knot.
With the press of an FP, I accept.
I was a little bit upset you didn't invite me though.
You weren't online at the time, and really it is just a marriage of convenience because we wanted the XP boost you get from being married and questing together. We did invite you to the reception.
Now that was a party.
Oh yeah, that was off the hook.
All right, party. Woo!
We also wanted to spend some time with the PvP, which is all in one massive zone, but every time we went there, we couldn't find anyone. Hello? Hello?
Well, maybe everyone's just too busy crafting. There's so much more we could say about this game, but we have to wrap this up. I love the look of this game. I know it's a superficial thing, but it really plays a big part in whether or not I keep playing because you spend so much time in an MMO, you want it to be beautiful. I just love that realism to the art and the color, and everything just seems like it belongs where it lives.
Yeah, and so often MMOs feel barren and flat or warehousey, but there's just so much detail here and a high level of detail too.
I'm still not thrilled about that $15 a month price tag on top of the price of the original game. I think that's going to be a hard sell for some.
Yeah, I think it's too much. If it was just 5 or 7, but 15 when there's so much free to play out there, I know so many of my friends aren't even starting this game simply because of that, which is such a shame.
Yeah, but there is a huge amount of content in this, which is how I think they're justifying it.
The Maumar are fled or dead thanks to your efforts.
All in all, for a new studio, a new game engine, and a new genre for the series, this is quite an achievement. I'm curious to try it out with a controller when it comes out on console as well. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I still have some issues with lag and of course the price like we talked about, but I'm just hooked on the sheer amount of content in this game.
This is why we came here.
For me, this is all about the stories and that freedom you have to build your character and play the way you want to. So I'm giving this 9 out of 10 rubber chickens. And on a side note, how good is the alt tabbing?
Oh, it alt tabs beautifully.
Yeah.
It's actually a really important feature for MMOs.
Absolutely. Solid tabbage.
So did you name the game for this week? It was the original Call of Duty released back in 2003. Developed by Infinity Ward and released by Activision, the game was originally on PC. But it wasn't long before it was available on a range of platforms, including the Nokia N-Gage, a half-phone, half-handheld gaming device that was maybe a little ahead of its time. And it's our Name the Game this week in celebration of Goose's story following Team Avant-Garde.
Say, Hex, what floats your goat?
What?
Well, we'll find out next week when we have a look at Escape Goat 2 and Goat Simulator. It's a goat special.
And we haven't had an Age of Wonders since 2003, so expectations are high for the new installment in the series. Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Oh, before we go, while they were in town, we asked shoutcasters Fwiz and Puckett to help us out with a little championship gaming of our own.
All right, we're kicking off Forklift Simulator here, 2014.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Farm 2013. We got the red combine making its way down the corn rows.
Right off the bat, green shirt almost gets taken out by the forklift.
No, he's switching it back to the left for another swoop. Look at the little wheels turning here.
These guys absolutely oblivious to the forklift skill set here.
And here he's coming up on the corn stalks, but no, he breaks.
Lining in
for the package here in the red.
The blue tractor on the opposite side of the corn maze is going to finish first.
Nice connection there as the forklift was able to pick that up. Very solid, clean pickup there.
Here they go, kicking it back up as the corn is spitting out the back end.
Time dwindling down on the clock. Can he get this in one swift motion?
This is gonna feed families for thousands of years.
And there you have it, the forklift able to drop it off.